Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are back, y'all. We are back for another season of Love is Blind. Love is Blind, y'all. One of our favorite shows to watch together. One of my favorite shows to review. Last season, the last time we reviewed it, we were in South Africa. South Africa, that's where we were. And this season looked like we're going to be in the UK, y'all. The UK, I'm here for it. I hope all of you guys are here for it too. A shout out to all my viewers who let me know it was coming back on, because y'all know I didn't even know. I'm not even in the know. I'm not in the know. I need to start keeping up. But lucky I got you all to let me know when it was coming back on, and it's coming back on this Wednesday. But when I went searching for it, I saw that they had dropped a trailer. And I thought the trailer was so interesting, y'all. I decided I was going to come on here and talk to you guys about this trailer, because one of the things the trailer started making me think about was I started getting nervous. I'm like, oh, I hope we get some good couples. You know, you guys know I'm a hopeless romantic. I love to see love win. And all these reality shows, we know they don't have a good high percentage of winners. But I always want to come out with at least one or two. I feel fine. As long as I get one or two winning couples, I'm fine, y'all. I don't need them all to. I don't need them all to walk away in love and in hand, because I want it to also be realistic. So when I started watching the trailer, it made me start thinking. As I started listening to some of these people talk, I said, you know what? Are relationships even outdated? That's gonna be my question when I'm sitting here watching this trailer, which we're going to watch it and I'm going to stop it and we're going to talk about it almost like I used to do my car talks, y'all. But I'm going to be like, are relationships outdated? And especially long-term ones. I don't think the short-term ones are outdated. I think that's what everybody wants to do, actually. But my question are long-term relationships outdated? I still haven't done no review on Pop the Balloon. I keep talking about I'm going to do it. But every time I get ready to sit down and think I'm going to do it, I get a little discouraged, because it kind of, Pop the Balloon exemplifies, I think, what's wrong in the dating world. It is so real to life. That's one reason why I watch it, because I think it's truly reality TV, because I think it represents reality. But I think that it is the sad part of the reality, which is people discard people so easily. So it made me start thinking in this review of this trailer, we're going to think about the question, are relationships outdated? Long-term ones. People say I'm old. I'm an old grandma. I'm stuck. And I think the people are right. I think I have a different view of relationships. I'm kind of more in the olden days, I guess, where it's not so much the short-term marriages, but you strive to build a legacy. You strive to build something that is sustainable throughout the years. You know, I'm not trendy. I'm not. Y'all know I don't dress trendy. I don't do hair. I'm not trendy. I'm the type of person where I buy, I don't rent. You see, we are actually in the time of life now where people would rather rent than buy. You know, I'm a buyer. I come from the days where you buy your cars. You don't rent your cars. You don't have a lease on a car for your whole life. You see what I'm saying? Now, I may lease for the first 5 years, but then I'm going to buy out my lease at the end of the 5 years. And then what's going to happen is I'm not going to have a car note for another 5, 6, 7 years, because I'm going to keep my car a long time, because that's when you start winning. You start winning on your car after it's paid off and you don't have no car note. If you're leasing your car all the time, always got a lease, you never get ahead. When do you get rid of that $4, $5, $6, $700 car payment if you're always in a lease? So I'm a buyer. I'm not a leaser. You know, same thing with property. Renting an apartment. Sure, there are times when renting an apartment is actually cheaper than buying, but in the long run, you can't beat buying the property. In the short term, you're right. There are lots of occasions where renting is better than buying, but in the long run, if you were to buy a house and build equity and all that kind of good stuff, there'll come a point in time where you're winning. Look at all the young people now complaining about all the homeowners who had those low interest rates back when they was coming out during the COVID years. 1%, 2%, 3%. Those people are now winning. They're now winning. Maybe back then they didn't feel like they was winning, but now they're winning. Sometimes you got to do something for the long term to get the wins. You see what I'm saying? Look at the jobs. Jobs now, no one stays at jobs long anymore. That's not the thing to do anymore. It's not the thing. My father and my mother stayed at their jobs. My mother was a teacher for 30 years. My father stayed in his job for 35 years. They both retired from their jobs. My mother, of course, a teacher, had a teacher's pension. Pensions are dead. They're gone for the most part, except some union jobs and people who still work for the city government or the county government. But for the most people, pensions are gone. But they were there for the long term. I remember when I was young and I saw it, I was like, ooh, who can work somewhere for 35 years? That's a long time. But then as my mother got to retirement, my parents got to retirement, I was like, ooh, dang, my mama got a retirement check as much as some people's paycheck, and they going to work every day, and she's sitting at home with her teacher's retirement check. People in the military, went to the military straight out of high school, 20 years old, did 20 years in the military, 25 years, 45, you started seeing my age group. We started seeing those people retiring from the military with military pensions, but they were still young. And then they went out and they started businesses, or they got another job, or, they freelanced, they consulted. So next thing you know, they was getting 2 checks into their house. They really came up, but that's long term. And so you see all these other parts of society where long term isn't celebrated anymore. Long term isn't valued anymore. So why would we believe that long term is valued in relationships? You see, I don't think it is. I think short term is the way the relationships are going. And guess what? Everybody? We're, the young ladies, the young men, y'all are paying the price. It's kind of the direction, people wanted to go. They didn't feel valued with companies. They figured out they had a different kind of way, which is fine. I'm not knocking the short-term movement. What I'm saying is that there are benefits and there's pros and cons to any type of movement. There was negatives to the movements back in the day when people were there 35 years. I didn't like it. So there are pros and cons and positives and negatives. And I think what we're seeing today in relationships are the negatives of the short-term movement, right? They're the negatives of the short-term movement. And sometimes it benefits people. Sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't. And I think when we talk about, I hear all the young ladies and I hear everybody, young men, everyone saying how hard it is to date now. Well, this is one of the negatives of the short-term mentality. People hitting it and quitting it. People are there for the short term. There's some statistics out there saying that the divorce rate is coming down. It used to be 50%. Oh, 50% divorce, 50% divorce. But now they say the divorce rate is going down. It's down to almost 42%. And they believe the reason why it's going down is because the millennial group who's starting to come into the marriage age, they've delayed marriage. And as a result of delaying marriage, maybe they're thinking about marriage a little bit more. And so they're doing things differently. They have better tools to make their marriages work. Maybe they're selecting their mates better. But I also think it's another part that's bringing it down. I just don't want to say millennials are better at marriage than the generations prior to. But what I believe that has helped the divorce rate come down is people don't feel pressure to get married in the first doggone place. You see, back in the day, even before my generation, there were shotgun marriages. You were forced to get married. Women were shunned if they were pregnant and not married. So lots of people went into marriages for the wrong reasons. People went into marriages because they were pregnant. And as a result, those marriages fell apart, or people felt society looked down on single women. So those women were forced to get into marriages that they didn't really want to be in, or that were bad marriages. Because they say that women initiate 70% of divorces. That's the statistics, that women do generate 72% of the divorces. But what's the reason why they generate it? Because let me tell you something, no woman leaves a good man, a good man to her. Women don't leave happy, thriving, healthy relationships. They've left the relationship because something's going on in the relationship that is causing them such pain that they feel they need to leave it. And sometimes men are just willing to maybe stay in the relationship longer because they're maybe not the ones that's suffering as much. So I don't want to hear all this stuff about it's women who's breaking up families. No, I just think women have more options now than they used to have before. And sometimes they're exercising those options when maybe prior to, women had to stay in the relationships because they couldn't afford to be out there on their own. But hey, now that's one of the negatives, is what I talk about on my channel. Sure, women believe they're leaving their marriages because they find happiness, but it's coming at a big financial price. It absolutely is. There's nothing anyone can tell me that the decline in the coupledness of couples isn't affecting people financially, because as prices rise and coupledom, whatever you want to call it, whether it's marriage or whatever, it goes down, how do you feel in that gap in between? How do you feel in that gap? You really believe that we have enough land here in the U.S. for everybody to be able to live in their own single house in the city? No, there's not enough land. Society was never meant for all of us to live alone in our individual little homes. We were meant to be together. But now we're in the short-term era. Don't nobody want to be with anyone for long. They say the average marriage is 8 years. 8 years. That's the average. And we know that when a marriage falls apart, it kind of fell apart before the 8 years, which really means that the average length of a marriage is probably really around 5 years. If the average marriage breaks up at 8 years, which means that takes some time for you to get a divorce, it takes some time for you to try to hang in there. More than likely, the marriage was going bad around the 4th or the 5th year, and finally the divorce happened in the 8th year. Some last longer because it's 8 years. But it's difficult out here. Even second marriages and third marriages don't really have too much better success rate. Well, they say that second marriages, 60% of those will end in a divorce. 60%. So people not learning anything from their first marriage to their second marriage. Third marriages, 73%, probably because people are older. By the time you get to your third marriage, you much older. LaToya Luckett, I just saw she's on her third marriage. Maybe she'll be in that 73%. Maybe you've really learned by now. Maybe you're older. Maybe you're wiser. Maybe you're more mature. Or maybe you've become a little bit more realistic in marriage. You know, that's the new thing out here. Short term. I don't need to settle. I need to get everything that I want in the marriage. And the minute I don't get everything I want in the marriage, I'm out. That's short term. That's not long term. Long term is when you're still willing to work with what you have, even though something bigger, shinier, or better might have come on the market. Look at a car. Short term is the lease. After 4 or 5 years, there's some new technology on that car. Do you need it? Do you need it right away? Is it integral to what you need? Some people, yeah, I need it right away. I need the best, the brightest, the shiniest new car. I need every bit of technology every couple of years. Phone, same thing. What iPhone are you on? I don't even know what they on now. Are they on 20? What version do you have? Are you on 20, 19, 18, 17? How up to date do you have to be? Or are you willing to hang on to something long term, even though it might be missing some new technology? A house. Everybody want a brand new house. Nobody want to buy an older house, and they want a house that no one else has lived in. Cost you more. You paying today's prices. You paying for today's labor. You paying for a lot of different things. But I rant and I'm raving. I'm over here talking about if you really want long term, if you want to go back to the old school days where people wanted long term relationships, then you got to find yourself a person with an old soul. Because the old souls believe in the long term. The new souls believe in the short term. So there's a little tip for you. If you're out here looking for somebody to marry, you better marry somebody with an older soul, because the idea of long-term marriage is an old idea compared to where we are now. We in the short term. We are absolutely in the short-term era. But I want to get into this video. I know I rant and I raved for quite a bit of time now. So I want to go ahead and get in this video. Like I said, I'm going to play a little part of the video. And then I'm going to stop it and we're going to talk about what these people are talking about because I want to see, do we have a good chance of getting a couple out of Love is Blind UK? Do we have a good chance of getting a couple out of Love is Blind UK? I hope so. We only need one. We only need one couple, y'all. At least for me. I only need one. So let's go ahead and get started and let's play it and watch it together.
I'm looking for something real, something magical, and of course, a lot of excitement.
Okay, that was the first little blurb. He said he's looking for something real, magical, and exciting. Now, remember my question is, are relationships really outdated? Long-term ones. Well, let me tell you right now, he for the short term. This man right here is for the short term. You know why I know he's for the short term? Because he used an oxymoron in the relationship world. He said he wants something real and magical. First of all, magical ain't real. Magical ain't real, Mr. I don't even know what his name is. It's not real. That's why it's called magic. But this is the double-mindedness that people want in relationships. They want something real, but they also want it to be magical. Well, magic ain't real. So how do you get both at the same time? This is what I'm talking about. This becomes the setup for the unrealistic expectations of marriage. Something real, magical, and full of excitement. Are we not at Six Flags Magic Mountain? We are not at Six Flags Magic Mountain. We in a marriage. We in a long-term marriage, a long-term relationship. Does it mean that it can have some excitement in it? Yes. But that's not the purpose of marriage, for it to be real, magical, and exciting. Go to Disneyland. Go to Disneyland if this is what you're looking for, because that's not the cornerstone of what marriage is. And when you go into a relationship expecting something that is not a cornerstone of the relationship, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be getting divorced at that average of 8 years, 5 years at best. Let's keep going. So we're about to, they asked him the question, let's describe the dating scene in the UK. We over here in the US, we're not dating in the UK. You know, there may be some people watching me, they're dating in the UK. But we want to hear, is the dating scene in the UK any different than the dating scene in the US? Probably not. It probably ain't no different. It could be worse, it could be better, but I bet it's kind of similar. I ain't got no statistics on their divorce rates, but I bet it ain't that much different. But let's hear how these folks are describing the dating scene in the UK.
Okay, because there's a lot of people that don't know what they want.
Okay, so he says the dating scene in the UK is that it's complicated because people don't really know what they want. Well, I don't know. I'm going to disagree with them. Maybe that's what's going on in the UK, but I don't think that's what's going on in the US. I think people can rattle off 1,000 things of what they want. I don't think people don't know what they want. I think people know exactly what they want, and that's part of the problem. They know exactly what they want. So therefore, they're looking for that person to match exactly what they want. I think everybody knows what they want. I can't say everyone knows. I just feel like there's a lot of people who know what they want, because if you go out and ask anyone, what do you want in a partner? People don't sit there and go, you know what, I really don't know what I want. No, that's not what they say. They can list out 1,000 things that they want. And because they know so well what they want, they dream about it. They could taste it. They could see it. They always know what they want. They always go out and look for someone that has all those things that they want. And therefore, they can't choose. It's like going to Cheesecake Factory. You ever go to Cheesecake Factory? It's a billion things on that doggone menu. And you sit there and the waiter comes by and says, hey, are you ready to order? No, I'm not ready to order yet. I'm not ready to order yet. And they say, I can't figure out what I want yet. That's because I got to narrow it down to one thing. Now, if someone took you to dinner and said, hey, just order 10, 15 things of the things you want to eat, you probably could order right now. Really? I can order right now? Yeah, okay, well, bring me this, bring me that, bring me this, bring me that. It's only when I have to decide on one entree. One entree, that's when I tell the waiter or the waitress I need a little bit more time. But that doesn't mean I don't know what I want or what I like. That just means of all the things I have on this menu, I can't yet decide which is the one I want the most. That's wrong with the dating scene. It's not that people don't know what they want, it's that they can't narrow the list down to be the most important things. It's almost like a too many choices. Too many choices. Because then what happens is when people feel, hey, I really want these 15 things. I really want 15 things on the Cheesecake Factory menu. But you telling me I have to narrow it down to one entree. Guess what you making me do? I settle. You making me settle on that one entree. Why can't I have everything that I want? Must I only have one item on the entree? That's what the new short-term generation calls it. When you make a short-term person narrow down their list from 100 to 5 things, what they come back and they tell you is, you're making me settle and I'm not willing to settle. So as a result, they stay out there in the dating world and they continue dating with their long list of criteria and what they want. And then they come along to this fella and he believes that because they haven't made a decision, they don't know what they want. No, they know what they want. It's just that you, fella, you're not everything that they want. You're not all their things. They have a whole list. You may be 40% of the list, 50% of the list, 70% of the list, but you're not the entire list. And that's what people are waiting for. The short-term generation needs everything to line up just right before they say yes to it. They need it all to line up. And if it doesn't all line up, what they're willing to do is they're willing to rent it. Doesn't mean they don't take it out for a test drive. Doesn't mean that they don't lease the car. But what they're not willing to do is they're not willing to buy the car. They're willing to lease the apartment, lease the house, but they're not willing to buy the house. You see, it's not that they can't enjoy the car. It's not that they don't like the car. It's not that they don't like the house. It's not even that they don't like that job, but they don't want to commit to it long term. No, because they want to be able to be mobile. They want to be able to, when the next thing comes around that they like, they want to be able to go over there and buy that car. They don't want to be stuck in a whole entire obligation to pay a car off. And they don't want to have to go out and sell their car on the open market, which would be a divorce. They don't want to have to sell the house when they're ready to move, which would be a divorce, equivalent to a divorce. They want to be able to say, hey, here's it back. Throw it back. What's the new saying? Throw you back in the streets. That's just like when you go back to the dealer and turn that lease car in. That's what we do in the relationships. Throwing people back in the streets. Isn't that what they say now? I'm back in these streets. I'm back in these streets. Back on the open market. Same thing. Let's go ahead. Let's continue.
Jersey is so small and the UK is too big. Everyone's got baggage or they're already settled.
Okay. She's short term too. Short term, short term, short term, short term. This is the side chick mentality. What she just talked about is she said that everyone's got baggage or they're already settled. So what she's saying is the only people on the dating market are the people with a whole lot of baggage, or the good men are already taken because she's a female. Or maybe the men are saying the good women are already taken. I don't know what they're going to say. But she's a female. So she's saying either the men left in the dating pool all got a lot of issues and baggage. And she's saying at the same time, because all the good men are already taken. But that is the side chick mentality. This is why side chick get with married men. Because what side chick believe, they believe that. They believe that the good men are taken. So as a result, they don't want the contaminated pool of dating that's out there now. Instead, what they want is they want to be with a married man because they feel that married man has more of the qualities that they really want. But of course he has the qualities. He's married. He's married. And they want that. But what they don't do, which is a side chick mentality, they don't realize that those married men that they're going after, they got baggage too. They got baggage too. They got baggage. And the only difference between the married man and the single man is that a woman has accepted that man's baggage and they're deciding to work through it in marriage. It's the only difference, y'all. And it's the same vice versa. Women got baggage. Single women have baggage. Married women, they got baggage too. And the only difference between a married woman and a single woman oftentimes is that a married woman is working on her baggage as well in her marriage. That's it. Marriage really only takes two people to decide we're going to get together, and together we're going to be as whole as we can coming into the marriage. We're going to do our best to come into the marriage as whole as we can. But once we get into marriage, we're going to discover a baggage. I'm going to find yours, you're going to find mine. And the only difference between married people is that they decide to work on their baggage in the marriage. Period. Point blank. Everyone's got baggage. So this notion that the singles have baggage and the married people are all settled because they don't have no baggage is wrong. And as a result, what this woman is going to miss out on is she's going to miss out on the work that people are doing in marriage. She's hoping she can find a person without baggage. This is what she's hoping for. She's still looking for a person without baggage and she ain't going to find him. Because she don't really want to do the work of marriage. The work of marriage. You see, going back to the car analogy, when you lease a car, a lot of the times the lease car comes with a full maintenance package the entire time of the lease. The entire time you get a 4-year, 5-year lease, guess what? It comes with a lease package. You know why? It comes with a maintenance package. You know why? Because that dealer knows that you might turn that car back in after 5 years. And when you turn that car back in after 5 years, that dealer is saying, well, I want to make sure that car was taken well care of, because when you return it back to me, I'm going to want to sell that car to somebody else. That's what he's saying. When you turn in the car at the end of your lease, where do you think they do? Take it to the junkyard? No, they don't take it to the junkyard. They take the car from you. They paid for the maintenance on the car for your 5 years. You drove it, got it. You turned it back in. Now they got a car that has been somewhat maintained. Now they turn around and they sell that car to whom? A long-term buyer. That's who they sell it to. A long-term buyer. And then when that long-term buyer buys it, guess who's got to pay the maintenance on it? The long-term buyer. That's who's paying for the maintenance on the car now. They don't necessarily get no maintenance package. Maybe they do nowadays. Maybe it comes with 1 year warranty. I don't know. Guaranteed warranty, maybe for a year, but not much. They're not getting the whole 5-6 years you get on a brand new car. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So once again, the person who bought the car is going to have a bit more risk buying an old used car versus the person who leased the car. And that's what we want. No risk. No risk. I want no risk. I want no risk. I don't want to have to maintain a car. I don't want to fix a car. I don't have to do any work. That's dating. Dating is the land of I don't want to do any work. I don't want to own this house. I don't want to have to pay for a gardener. I don't want to have to pay for these repairs. I want to be able to call my landlord, and my landlord does all the work for me. Well, guess who benefits from holding property long term? Landlords, property owners. So they lease it to you. They lease it to you. That's what's going on. I mean, I know we're talking about it now in the news. They said that Kamala Harris's husband cheated on his first wife. That's what everybody's saying. That's what they're not just saying it, he admitted to it. So the first marriage of Kamala Harris's husband was because he cheated in his first marriage. Well, guess who bought him on the aftermarket? Kamala did. Kamala bought him. You see, everybody doesn't think everybody has baggage. The difference between a married woman and a non-married woman, a married man and a non-married man, is that married people accept people's baggage. It's the difference. That's why I tell people, married people settle. People say, oh, I don't want to settle. Well, you won't be married. Every married person settles. Every married person settles. That's why they're married, because they settled. They settled. Single people don't settle, like this young lady is saying, because she doesn't want a person with baggage. So she doesn't want to settle. She doesn't want to settle. She doesn't want to accept the fact that she's going to have to do some maintenance at her cost. You see, she wants someone else to pay for it. Because in the end, you have a cheating husband. You divorce him because he cheated on you. That's fine. And then you get divorced. And then you go off. And then you say, okay, I'm going to have a second marriage. You get a second marriage. And odds are, good chance, you're about to marry a man who cheated on his wife too, or his girlfriend. So you got rid of your husband because he cheated on you. But all you did was go back in the market and buy another car, another man that his marriage ended because he cheated too. Or what you gonna do? Not marry a man if he cheated? Then like Kamala, she wouldn't have married Doug Emhoff. No, what you do is you believe that, hey, I can accept a cheating man if he didn't cheat on me. I can accept a cheating man if he cheated on another woman. That's all you're playing. That's all you doing. You still with a cheater. Whether he cheated on you or he cheated on another woman, he's still a person that cheats. And it means he can cheat again. But what do you do when you get married is you take a chance. And that's what Kamala done with her husband. Yeah, he cheated. She took a chance that he won't cheat again. Now, who knows? She may win. She may lose. She may win or she may lose. But because she bought him in marriage, she's going to take the risk. People who rent short-termers, they don't marry them. They say, because, you cheated before, you may cheat again, so I don't want to marry you. I don't want to carry all the risk. It's just a decision. It's not making married people better than single people short-term, but it's the difference in mentality. And if you don't have the mentality of marriage, you can't get married. It's a different mentality. People keep thinking it's about finding the person. It's not about finding the person. It's about changing your mentality. Because if you still have the mentality of looking for a mate like a single person, you'll stay single. But if you start looking for marriage in the way that a married person looks, then you'll find a person to marry. Just like I'm looking for a house to rent versus I'm looking for a house to buy. It's completely different mindset. It's completely different. I'm looking for a car to lease versus a car I want to buy because I want to keep this car for 10 years, not 5-year lease, 10 years. You think differently. You think differently. So this young lady, she got a short-term mentality because even if she thinks she finds someone with no baggage, she's going to end up getting divorced because once she gets in the marriage, she's going to be like, oh, he got baggage. I thought I was getting somebody without baggage because her mentality was wrong. She actually believed she could find a person out here in the world that has been living for 30, 40 years and doesn't have any baggage. No baggage from childhood, from their mama, from their daddy, from people in the streets, from their growing up to their job, to all the racism that's out here, the misogyny that's out here, all the bad, evil things in the world. And you don't think, you really believe you're going to find a person walking around out here that doesn't have any trauma or baggage after living in this world? This world? Come on now. Come on now. All right, let's keep going.
No one wants to be in a relationship. Everyone's got this obsession with situationships. No one wants to be tied down. So, yeah, we're in the ghetto right here.
Okay, here we go. This is the first lady talking real sense. She's talking reality. She said there's an obsession. No one wants to be in a relationship. That's what I'm saying here. Not long-term ones. They're obsessed with situationships. She said, we in the ghetto right now. She said, we are in the ghetto era right now. No one wants to be tied down. Everybody wants to be in situationships. And because of it, it's expensive. Dating is expensive. All y'all going out every week, hitting the town, trying to find somebody new outfits, new clothes, new fancy places to go to so you can stay in an environment where you can meet new people. It's expensive. It's expensive. Your money is going right out the window every single week. Every single week. I'm going to tell you something. My generation had a much better time staying single and not partnering than y'all do right now. Because things weren't this expensive when back in the day when I was young and single and running the streets. Things weren't that expensive. You could get an apartment, and even in LA, you get an apartment for $500-$600. And you can make it on your own, by yourself, independent, not needing anybody. You could do it. But now, shoot, stuff is expensive. Expensive. How much does a date cost now? How much you gonna drop on a date now? I mean, geez, back in the day, it was, a teenager. My dates when I was a teenager, a guy could take you to a movie and get something to eat. That was easy for a kid who had a little minimum wage job, whatever, working part-time. But now, how much would it cost? How much would it cost just to take your young 18-year-old girlfriend out for a dinner and a movie? Can't afford it. Can't afford it. But guess what? Y'all is willing to pay for it. Y'all are willing to ante up the money. You guys are willing to pay for your happiness. That's what you say. You say, I don't want to settle. I want to be happy. Well, then it costs. Happiness can sometimes cost you some money. The type of happiness y'all are looking for. Always, like that guy said, excitement. 24/7. Excitement. 24/7. Like I said, it's a mentality. It's a mentality. People can be happy and be broke and poor. It's a mentality. What do you base your happiness on? Does your happiness always have to come with this big monetary price? Can you be happy with simpler things? No, a lot of people can't. That's settling. Being happy over simple things, that's settling. Therefore, it costs. It's expensive. It's very, very expensive to be out here in the world all by yourself, trying to do everything on your own, holding out to find the person who has everything you want with no baggage. It's coming at a heavy price, y'all. It really is coming at a heavy price. I wish people would start thinking about it in that way. They're thinking about it in terms of, I don't want to be in a bad relationship. Don't nobody want to be in a bad relationship. No one does. But the price you're paying, to give up that little bit of less excitement that man's talking about he wants. I want excitement. Or how much is the excitement costing you? Is it really worth all that? To some people, they say yes. Well, hey, you willing to pay for it? Then stop complaining. That I say stop complaining, because people have choices. I really don't care what people choose. Then I don't want to hear no more complaints. This is the price of it. Do you want it or do you not want it? Just like you go out, like I said, I'm using cars and houses. People know what they want. They see it. Do you want this house? I want this house, but I don't want to spend $1.5 million for it. You know what? I don't know what to tell you. This is how much it costs. I don't want to pay this much to rent this place. This is how much it costs. You know why? Because everybody want to rent. Everybody want to rent. This is how much it costs. You want to go out? Everybody want to go out. This is how much it costs. These are prices to live in this space where you're out all the time. Married couples don't go out like that. They sure don't. They sure don't. Go poll some married couples on how often they go out. Married couples have date night. They try to do once a week. Some people don't do once a week. Some people do once a month, once every 2 weeks. Go poll some married people on how often they actually go out on date night. But this lady, she was one of the few talking some real stuff. She at least has a handle on what the real dating world is. Situationships. Short-termers. Short term. Not long term. Short term. Let's keep going.
I think we've formed a culture recently where people are sort of jumping from one thing to the next and not really giving anything a try.
He right about that. He is right about that. That's the pop the balloon. One thing to the next. Pop, 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 pop your balloon. People ain't even got up to the mic on Pop the Balloon and already you out over an outfit. An outfit. What does that have to do with marriage? What you wearing? What does that have to do with a relationship? What you're wearing? Are you telling me if you're dressed the way I like you versus dressed the way I don't like you, then my marriage has a chance of being more successful because you have on what I like you to wear? That don't even make no sense. That's short term, because what you're looking for is I want to look good in the short term. That's based on what you're wearing, because you don't even have to wear that every day. that trend will be gone in another 4 years. You're basing a whole relationship off of what someone is wearing, which is short term. What you wear is short term. Why would I pick a person and pop the balloon versus what you're wearing? Because that's where we are, short term. Like he said, jumping from one thing to the next. The throwaway generation. Throwaway. They say my generation was the microwave generation. We want everything fast. We knew what we wanted, but we wanted it fast. We didn't want to wait for it to cook in the oven. You know, we was the microwave. The microwave came out, and we didn't have to wait a whole hour to heat something up in the oven. Now we could pop it in the microwave, and boom, it's ready. The microwave generation. We didn't have any patience, as they told us. This generation is the throwaway generation. The paper plates and the paper forks. They don't even own dishes. These young people got paper plates and paper cups in their cabinets and their cupboards, where they just eat off paper plates all the time. We used to only eat off paper plates for barbecues and picnics, outdoor stuff. The new generation now eats off paper plates, paper forks every day. The throwaway generation. On to the next. On to the next. This is the red flags generation. Soon as you see a red flag, you out. You don't look at that red flag and say, okay, it's a red flag. Is it a yellow flag or red flag? Is this a red flag we can work on in the marriage, or is this red flag a deal killer? No, they leave over any red flag. Any red flag. And we think that married people ain't got red flags. I got red flags. Everybody got red flags. People in marriage have red flags. They're not all yellow flags. They're not all green flags. It's a mixture. Some reds, some yellows, some greens. That's the reality. But nope, not now. We see a red flag, boom, we out the door. We are out the door. The throwaway generation. So when he says people are on to the next thing, that's right. They are on to the next thing, because the minute they see or hear, pop the balloon. Even if they let you get the mic and pop the balloon, the minute you say one thing that they don't like, boom, they pop the balloon. One thing, one doggone thing, and you out. That's a hard test to meet. That is a hard test to meet. Let's keep going.
When it comes to dating apps, and people don't give people a chance, it's kind of a big reason to be on the show, I suppose.
Okay, that's what he's talking about. Swipe left, boom, 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 boom. They don't even read too much. They just look at you and go, I don't like your eyebrows. Boom, I'm swiping. The dating apps. Y'all became more efficient with your dating apps. The old dating apps, you had to read the profile. You had to go through. You had a few filters. Now these new dating apps, like I said, pop the balloon. You can't even walk up to the mic. You get a chance to say one thing wrong. Everybody popping their balloon on you. And it's mainly over physical characteristics. Physical characteristics that are short term. Short term. What you wearing, that's short term. That's short term. What you look like, what your hair is, that's short term. All of it's so short term. We're trying to build long-term relationships over short-term characteristics. It really don't even make too much sense, y'all. It really, really doesn't. But let's keep going. Okay, we're about to ask, what are you looking for in a long-term partner? This ought to get interesting. What are folks looking for in a long-term partner? Are they looking for short-term stuff, or are they looking for long-term stuff? Short-term or long-term? That's what we want to think about. So let's keep going.
I'm looking for respect, loyalty, trust, and of course, a lot of excitement.
There goes the excitement man again. There goes the excitement man again. Go to Disneyland. Go to Disneyland. Short term. I'm labeling him short term. Let me tell you, marriage is routine. I hate to break it to y'all. Marriage is routine with some excitement. It ain't excitement with a little bit of routine. Where are all the married people with kids? A routine. Them kids are on a routine. When they go to school, when they come home from school, when they do their homework, when they eat dinner, when they take a bath, when they go to bed, it's routine. If you have a kid without a routine, you got a house full of chaos. A house full of chaos. What's he talking about? Excitement. It's routine. If you don't want no routines, then don't have no kids and don't get married. If all you looking for is excitement, go to Disneyland. Short term. Like I said, short term. He for the short term. I heard his answer in the beginning, and now I heard his answer now. He's for the short term because marriage is routine with some excitement. Routine with some excitement. Oh, I want exciting sex all the time. Think about it. Think about it. You having sex with your husband. How often? How often you want to have sex? Do you believe that over the course of a 40-year marriage that you can come up with 40 years times 356 days in a year, that many sexual positions, sexual excitement? You can't. You can't. Where are you going to learn it from? You're with the same partner. Sometimes people learn new sexual techniques from new sexual partners, and they bring them over to the relationship. They learn this from over here. They learn this over here from, Simone or somebody, and now they're coming over here and bringing it over to you. Where do you think they learned it? But what happens when you're in a relationship the whole time? Where are you learning your new sexual positions? Porn, books, TV, social media. After a while, you're doing the same old moves. You're doing the same old moves. It's starting to feel the same. But this guy wants excitement. He wants a new sexual position every time he makes love. He wants a new feeling every time he makes love. That's why you hear married couples all the time saying, let's add a little bit more excitement to the relationship. Let's come up with something new. Because they feel that maybe they've been doing the same thing for a little while, because that's what marriage looks like. It is routine. And you have to add in some excitement. This guy wants excitement all the time. He ain't ready for marriage. He is not ready for marriage. And he ain't even ready for parenthood, because parenting is routine too. Let's be real. There's some excitement. There is some excitement, but a lot of it is routine. Go to school, wake up, pack lunches, pack food, get in the car, take them to school, bring them home from school, do homework, cook dinner, brush your teeth, take a bath, go to bed, wake up, do it all over again. Go to some sports activities. It's the same thing. It's routine. It's not much variation in it. Do your hours at work vary? No, your hours at work are routine. They're routine. Sure, you went, I like working from home because I can vary my hours. That's all that excitement. That's always wanting excitement. Some things are just routine. 9 to 5. 9 to 5. But hey, let's keep going. Let's see what someone else says they want from their partner.
Excitement.
I'm looking for a best friend, someone that I can spend the rest of my life with.
Someone that's good.
I like that answer. They're looking for a best friend, because you're going to spend a lot of time with your spouse. So I like the idea of a best friend. Just don't make it your only friend. Don't make it your only friend. That'll bring you some problems when you make your spouse your only friend, and your spouse has other friends too. So I agree with make your spouse your best friend if you can. But make sure you have other friends, and make sure you also have hobbies and interests outside of your relationship that also nurture you individually. I think you need to be nurtured as a couple, but I also think you need to be nurtured as an individual. But you know what? I ain't got much bad things to say about his answer. I liked his answer. Let's keep going.
Someone that's good with kids, kind to animals, and someone that's really funny.
Girl, get out of here. Go to a comedy show. Go to a comedy show. Someone who's really funny. I got to make you laugh the whole time. You shouldn't be saying you want someone funny. You may say that I want someone who enjoys laughing, right? That's fine. Nothing's wrong with that. You enjoy laughing. That's fine. You want someone who doesn't take life seriously, but someone that is really funny. Then go. You want a comedian? What do you want? Go to a comedy show. I got to make you laugh every single day. I got to tell you something funny every single day. Girl, that ain't long term. That is not long term. That is short term. Kind to animals. What is kind to animals? What, you don't want a person going around killing animals? Well, who does? That's a waste of a demand. Kind to animals. If you're going around killing animals, then you don't need to be married. You need to be somewhere in a mental hospital if you're going here deranging and maiming animals. You mean someone who likes animals because you like a lot of animals? Kind to animals. She's short term. Good with kids. Someone who wants kids. Someone who wants kids and is good to kids. But most people, you don't even know if they're good with kids if they don't have any kids. What you gonna want? If they don't already have any kids, how are you gonna determine if they're good with kids? Are single people with no kids, besides maybe nieces and nephews they're around, how do you ever get an idea that they're good with kids for men? Were they a teacher? This stuff don't even make any sense. How's she going to be out on a date and someone says, are you good with kids? All they going to do is say is yes. How are you going to verify it? What you going to do? How are you going to verify? Most people don't even know how to take care of no kids' babies before they have their own. They learn it on the fly. So maybe you ought to know, do they have a desire for kids? Maybe you ought to know about their heart for kids, whether or not they're good with kids. What, do they know how to change a diaper? How would you know? What difference does that make if they don't know how to change a diaper right now and here now? What difference if you meet a man right now and say, hey, you ain't got no kids? No. Do you have a lot of experience with kids? Are you good with kids? How does he know? He ain't got no kids. At best, he may be an uncle. He may not even be that. He ain't no school teacher. He ain't around a lot of kids. Don't even make no sense. Like I said, people out here, they thinking what a short term. These things they coming up with don't even really matter in marriage. And sometimes people ain't good with other people's kids, but they good with their own kids. A lot of people don't like other people's kids, but they love their kids. Woo! Let's keep going.
I'm looking for someone who's like independent, driven, respectful, and loyal.
Okay, this might be the worst answer I've heard. This might be the worst answer I've heard. She wants somebody who's independent, loyal, and driven. Bye. You don't want no independent person to be married to them. You're in a marriage. You're a team. That's why I always get mad at women when I'm talking about I'm independent. I'm independent. Well, then you don't need to get married if you're independent. Their independence is not a cornerstone of marriage. It's interdependency. I depend on you. You depend on me. Why do you want a man that's independent of you? And why would a man want you and you independent of him? She sounds like a person, she want a man independent, which means she don't want him needing her for nothing. Then she want him to be loyal to her. Well, why would I be loyal to a person that wants me to be independent of them? So you don't want to do nothing for me. You want me to be independent, but then you want me to be loyal to you, lady, girl, and driven for my career, my goals, my ambitions. So you want me independent, but that yet you want me to be loyal to you. You're not going to give me nothing either, because obviously you want to be independent, because you wouldn't tell me to be independent if you don't want to be independent, which means you're not there for me. Okay, but you want me to be loyal to you. And then you want to be driven. See, she's describing herself. She's independent. She thinks she's loyal and she thinks she's driven, but she's not really loyal. She's loyal when she want to be loyal because she's independent. And she's going to be loyal when it's convenient for her because she's independent. She's not dependent on that person. This is the worst answer. This is when people start venturing over into that narcissist in the making. This is the worst answer ever. If she wants somebody independent, loyal, and driven, she need to go get her a pit bull or a Rottweiler. That's what she needs, because that describes them. Independent, loyal, and driven. That describes a pit bull and a Rottweiler. That does not describe a man you want to be in a relationship with who's so independent they don't need you, they don't want to be around you, they can do without you, but they're loyal to you. Girl, that she describing herself. Don't marry her. Any man out there right now, don't marry her. I'm going to see how she does on the show, because that was a bad answer. Let's keep going.
I think being positive, adventurous, curious. I think kind-hearted, respectful, open, honest, good at communicating, not asking for much.
Oh, you know what? I know they mocked his answer, playing all that flowery music as if it's pie in the sky. But actually, you know what? I liked his answers. You know, it wasn't a lot of them. He said positive, adventurous, curious, respectful, open, honest, good at communication. 7. He only listed 7 things. And people act like that was too much to list. No, it wasn't. And what he listed about those things where those are things that support a marriage. They don't just support short term, they support long term. Positive, always attacking problems in a marriage from a positive standpoint, being adventurous, always willing to, try new things. You need that in a marriage. Try new things, because when the thing you do goes bad, you need somebody who's adventurous, curious for learning, curious for wanting to be able to go to the next levels in a relationship, because where you start is not where you're going to be in 5 years. We all change, y'all. Who I was 5 years ago, my husband is married to a different woman 10 years ago. He's got to be curious enough to love me now in this era of my life. Right? You can't be stuck on wanting to love me, the girl from 10, 15 years ago. You got to be willing to love me where I am now. Respectful, open, honest communication. This is a good answer. This is stuff. These are characteristics that are going to help sustain a relationship for a long term. These are qualities that help ground a person or relationship. These are long-term qualities. These aren't short-term qualities. These are long-term qualities that will support a relationship. I like it. I like his answer.
With passion and drive, but also wants to have fun.
Bye. Bye, fella. Bye, fella. Wants to have fun. Passion, wants to have fun. Just date. Just date. Just date. I'm not saying that relationships can't be without passion, okay? But like I just said before, long term, if you want long term, I'm not talking about short term. You want short term, go ahead and do that. Just keep dating for passion and fun. Let those be the cornerstones for you. Those aren't cornerstones for long term. They're not. They're not cornerstone for long term. I hate to tell people. People are addicted to fun all the time. No, that's not the cornerstone for a long-term relationship. It's not even the cornerstone to parenthood, okay? Raising kids. None of it. It's short-term. Those are short-term answers. Let's keep going.
I'm looking for a partner who cares about fitness and just like their health.
Short-term. Does that mean you want someone, who wants a person who goes around and says, I don't care about my health? Nobody doesn't care. It's not that anybody doesn't care about their health. Some people just aren't maybe as deeply rooted and go to such lengths. So that's what she wants. That's not long term. That's not long term. So you're trying to say that people who are vegetarians and who work out, their relationships last longer than people who don't work out? No, it doesn't. It doesn't add to the longevity of your relationship. Now, do you want someone who gets fat and overweight? I don't know. But working out, there's no statistics out there that says people who work out, marriages last longer. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a long-term relationship? Because if you're looking for a long-term relationship, it doesn't really matter if I eat beef, pork, or chicken. There's no statistic out there that says pork eaters get divorced earlier. You just want a person who's like you. Why can't you go to the gym? You like going to the gym? Go. You don't want to eat pork? Don't eat pork. You don't want to eat carbs? Don't eat carbs. What does that have to do? It's because it's what you want. You want somebody to be exactly like you. And that is not a recipe for a long-term relationship, because one, you can't find nobody exactly like you. And like I said before, people change. What if you start going out with them and they don't eat pork? Then later on they decide, you know what, I'm going to start eating me some pork. What you going to do? You going to divorce them? Because now they chowing down on some pork or barbecue ribs? Girl, short term. Short term, short term, short term. Let's keep going.
Balance in a relationship. I think that's the most important thing.
Kindness, consideration, someone who's got really close with their friends and family is important too.
Okay. Kindness, consideration, I'm fine with that. Someone is close with their friends and family. I don't know how I think about that anymore. I know that was a thing. You want someone close to family because family is really important to you. But what if somebody come from a toxic family? You really want them still close with those toxic people? You really want people close to toxic relatives? That be the woman that then is mad that he's close to a toxic mama. No, that's not what you want. What you do want is you want a person who has been able to develop, has a history of being able to develop close relationships with someone. It doesn't always have to be family because sometimes family is toxic. Sometimes people need to get away from toxic family and they become better people. So don't just say, well, I don't want to be with a person who's not close to their family. Maybe their family is toxic. Maybe their family is full of drug addicts or, bad people and they got away from them and they're not really close to them. But what you do want is you do want a history of a person being able to establish a long relationship with someone. Do they have a friend of many years that they're really close with? That tells me they've learned how to work in a long-term relationship. Do they have a family member or someone? But if they don't have any of that, that is a red flag. That's a caution flag. Because over the course of time, once you become 30 years old, 35, 40 years old, there should be someone in your life where you have had to navigate a long-term relationship and made it work. Because like I said, no one's perfect. Family's not perfect. Friends aren't perfect. Do you have anyone in your life that you've been able to navigate a long-term relationship with? But it doesn't always have to be family. It could. You'd hope so. You want someone who maybe has the same values as you, but you need to look a little deeper on that. What's most important is that they know how to set boundaries on toxic people, but they also know how to maintain long-term relationships. That's what's most important. Because a lot of people come from toxic families and they're looking to join a better family. So sometimes when she says, are you close with your family? There may be a guy out there who's come from a really toxic family and he needs to go through some therapy over, but he wants to be in a more healthy family and he fully embraces your family. You see that a lot. And you see it the other way where people don't know about family. And because they don't know anything about family, they don't know how to interact with a tight-knit family. So I'm not going to really down her on her answer all the way, but I would just say tighten up that answer about being close to family. If they toxic, I wouldn't want nobody close to no family and the family is toxic and they're going to be all in your marriage, making your marriage toxic. I don't know. I don't like that. I wouldn't want that. But let's keep going.
Materialism.
Conspiracy theorists.
Rudeness.
Men that use Oyster cards. Just use your credit card.
A female who's a bit too superficial. On a day-to-day, let's just go to Nando's.
My biggest ick would be someone that's just arrogant and selfish.
Someone with long fingernails. But I'm not going to see that in the pod, so who will know?
Okay, we got a little bit of short-term people and long-term people. Materialism, I get that. Conspiracy theorist, rudeness, Oyster card. I had to Google that. Oyster card is here in LA, we call it a tap card. It's almost like a metro or a subway or a train card where you load the card up and then you tap the card to get through the gates. And she's saying an Oyster card is when you can load up the card and get through the gate. She's saying, why don't you just use your credit card, tap your credit card, it'll charge your credit card. So she's talking about efficiency. She's short term. That's ridiculous to get rid of a person because they want to use an Oyster card versus a credit card. Maybe they want to leave their credit card at home. I don't know. That's just you short term when you listen to that kind of stuff. And then the guy who said a female is too superficial. Female, you mean a woman? Female. I don't know. Men who call women females. We're women, we're females. I mean, we're female, but I don't know. Arrogant and selfish, I get that. Someone with long fingernails. Girl, get some clippers. Get some clippers. Short term. Let's keep going.
What is your vision of like a happy relationship? Because obviously if it doesn't match what mine is, then we're not going to be compatible.
Understanding someone's plan for their life, where they see themselves, how they fit in with their friends or family.
Okay, she's mentioning friends and family again. Friends and family, friends and family, friends and family. Somebody might want to make sure that she can draw some boundaries around her friends and family, because she mentions them a lot. And we're not saying that friends and family are not important, but she seems to mention them a lot. A lot. What is the influence of her friends and family on her? She act like the relationship is her husband, and her friends and her family. She might have a bit of a problem. She might have a bit of a problem, but, you know, hey, I don't know. Let's keep going.
What's your love language? Because I identify love as physical touch.
Okay, what's your love language? Not a bad question. It just depends on what you're going to do with that information. She says her love language is physical touch. Does that mean you're going to love me according to your love language? What if my love language, is words of affirmation, gifts? Are you willing to receive love in your love language, but give me love in my love language? Sounds like she's saying she is. She was a young lady. I liked her answer before. She sounded grounded. So, more than just finding out a person's love language, let me tell you what's a better question. Or good follow-up. A good follow-up question. What's your love language? They tell you their love language is different from yours. Your next follow-up question, you shouldn't just leave it there, because although they told you, now you know how to love them. But the next question would be, well, how do you feel expressing love in my love language? Because a lot of people can have a love language like hers is physical touch. She says hers is physical touch. So let's say that my love language is gifts. Do you feel comfortable expressing love to me in the form of gifts? Do you feel, what if my love language is words of affirmation? Do you have enough in you that even though you love to be touched, held, caressed, kissed on, hold hands, PDA, that's what you want, that's what fills you up. Are you willing to step up your game and give and every day leave me a love note, words of affirmation? Every day tell me you love me, even though that's not what you do. Every day send me a sweet text messages, check in on me, throughout the day, see how I'm doing. You willing to do that? Or will you be too independent and busy? But then when the person comes home, you want them to kiss you and hold you, but throughout the day, their love language was words of affirmation and you didn't give them any all day. But when they come home, you want them to hug you and kiss you because now you're ready to receive some love. But all day, they've been waiting on your text message. They've been waiting for you to check in on them, see how they're doing, say something nice, encouraging, sweet to them. So you're ready to receive when they get home. You want to hug, you want to kiss, you want to make love. But throughout the day, you didn't give them their love language, which were sweet text messages, love notes, kind words, sweet emojis. I don't know. We got any more? Let's see. What else we got?
Most important question I will be asking in the pods, and hopefully the biggest question of my life will be, will you marry me?
I like that little accent on the end. Will you marry me? Will you marry me? I can't even say it. It sounds Irish. He sounds Irish, but it sounded sweet. Will you marry me? That's going to be the most question in the world. On the show, will you marry me, that he'll ask. That's a good ending. Let's hope, y'all. Let's hope that we do get a will you marry me. And let's hope that not only do we get a will you marry me, because we know we're going to get some will you marry me's. Let's hope that we get some I do's at the end of the season. Anyway, the show's coming on Wednesday, August 7th. Please join me for my review. I don't know when I'll get the review out. I know I won't get it out Wednesday, y'all. I probably won't get it out Thursday, maybe by Friday or Saturday. But don't matter. Please subscribe to my channel, like it, so that when I do drop the review, you guys will get the alert. Because more than likely, I may have to do it, on a Friday or something like that. Because typically on Fridays, I work half days at my regular job. So, or I work from home or something, maybe I can get a video out. But anyway, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Drop down in my comments because I know I talked about a whole lot of stuff. And I know y'all might agree and disagree with a lot of stuff I said. And I'm willing to hear what you got to say. That's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.